Nostradamus would have predicted the death of Pope Francis, and recently there has been news that has shocked the world. Pope Francis is in a delicate state of health, with a complicated clinical picture. It is important to note that the Pope is already 88 years old, which means that even a mild illness could seriously affect him. However, it is also true that he has a first-level medical team and has a great willpower, which could help him recover. Meanwhile, a conspiracy theory has circulated that the Pope has his days counted based on the prophecies of Nostradamus. This French doctor and astrologer, who lived centuries ago, left many prophecies, although his ambiguous nature has generated debate about his veracity. Some consider him a charlatan, while others believe in his ability to foresee the future. It is said that one of his prophecies mentions the death of an old pontiff, followed by the election of a young Roman who, although he will weaken the church, will remain in office for a long time. Although it is said that this prediction could refer to Pope Francis and the arrival of a new religious leader, it is essential to clarify that, although the Pope's health is not optimal, it is not critical, and it is expected that he will soon resume his activities. Many argue that Pope Francis will be the last good pope, since, according to another supposed prophecy, a new pope, young and weakening for the church, could trigger an international religious conflict, marking the beginning of the end of the world. What do you think about it? The reality is that the Pope is sick, but the rest is speculation. It is possible that many are already realizing that 2025 will not be just another year in history, but a significant year that will be remembered in books, reports, and documentaries. What we are currently experiencing, although it may seem incredible in the midst of panic, will be understood over time, and each event will find its place in the historical narrative. We are faced with a mixture of true and false news that generates confusion and nervousness, which can lead to changes of opinion and a feeling of instability. Among these news, it is likely that you have found predictions, many of which turned out to be incorrect. In addition to the prophecies, there is a biblical verse that could be interesting for a future video. Isaiah 26:20 says, "Go, my people, enter your house and close the doors behind you. Hide a little while the wrath of the Lord passes." This verse is authentic and deserves a deeper discussion at another time. Returning to the subject of prophecies, it is inevitable to mention figures such as Baba Vanga and, above all, Nostradamus. Perhaps you remember his prediction about the arrival of the Black Pope in the 21st century, an event that would be interpreted as the announcement of the end of times. When Pope Francis assumed office, much was discussed about this prophecy, although many dismissed it or considered it unlikely, since the color of Bergoglio's skin does not coincide with that description. However, some tried to cling to the prophecy by pointing out that Pope Francis belongs to the order of the Jesuits, whose habits are completely black. In addition, the leader of this congregation is known as the Black Pope. Despite this, skepticism can be maintained, since Jorge Bergoglio never became the leader of the order, so he was not named as such. Apart from the prophecies of Nostradamus, there is another that, although less known, will surely impact you. The prophecy of Saint Malachias. Malachias de Armagh was a Catholic archbishop born in 1094 and canonized on July 6, 1190. His fame comes from his most important work, entitled The Prophecy of the Popes. There are those who question whether he really wrote this text, but what is indisputable is that it was backed by the Vatican, which makes it an official document. What is this prophecy about? It is found in a book titled The Tree of Life, The Ornament and the Glory of the Church, written by the Benedictine monk Arnoldo Guion. This book is a compilation of biographies of canonized saints, and it includes a list of all the popes who have existed, as well as those who are predicted to come from 1144, according to the visions of Saint Malachias. Each pope on the list of 112 of Saint Malachias has a brief description or associated characteristic. Although many of them do not present distinctive features, there are some whose descriptions are notably intriguing. For example, Pope 104, known as the one of the devastated religion, corresponds to Benedict XV, who was a pontiff during the First World War. Pope 107 is described as the navigator pastor, which is significant considering that John the 5th was originally from Venice, known as the City of the Navigators. One of the most prominent cases is Pope John Paul II, number 110 on the list, who receives the description of Laboris Solis, which translates as the Pope of Fatigue or Work of the Sun. This description can be interpreted in several ways, as it was one of the popes who was in office for the longest time, and also the one who traveled the most. In addition, his birth and death coincided with solar eclipses, which adds another layer of meaning to his title. After him, with the arrival of Pope 111, Benedict XVI, we find another interesting coincidence. The prophecy describes him as the Pope of the Glory of the Olive. This is related to the fact that the Benedictine order is symbolized by an olive, and also because he was born and was blessed on a Saturday of glory. It is important to mention that this list not only refers to the popes, but also includes the anti-popes. Uncertainty about the real reasons behind the resignation of Benedict XVI still persists. In order not to extend myself too much in this video, I will mention that after the serious atrocities committed during the papacy of John Paul II, who was known for protecting pedophile priests and covering up their crimes, Benedict XVI dedicated himself to excommunicating and imprisoning hundreds of priests accused of abuse. This action was not well received by the Vatican, and it is speculated that he was forced to resign to allow the arrival of a new charismatic pope. Since the arrival of Pope Francis, it seems that the cases of pedophile priests have decreased, which some interpret as an attempt by Francis to continue the protection of abusers. Similar to what John Paul II did by unfairly dismissing Benedict from his post when he was only doing what was correct and necessary, this suggests that Francis could have ascended to power in a questionable way. However, the truly disturbing thing about the prophecy of Saint Malachy is not only that the list stops at 112 popes, but that, when it comes to this number, the description of Pope Francis is not a simple phrase, but a prophecy that says the following. In extreme persecution, in the Holy Roman Church, Peter the Roman will reign, who will take care of his flock among many tribulations. After which, the city of the 7 hills will be destroyed, and the terrible judge will judge his people. The reference to the 7 hills could allude both to Rome and Jerusalem, since both cities are built on 7 hills. In addition, the fact that this pope bears the name of Peter could be interpreted as a metaphor that symbolizes the beginning and end of the Catholic Church, representing the Alpha and the Omega. It is important to remember that the first pope in history was Saint Peter, one of the closest apostles to Jesus and considered the foundation of the Catholic Church. If the prophecy of Saint Malachy refers to a pope who bears the same name, this could be interpreted as a powerful metaphor that suggests that the cycle of the Catholic Church, which began with Peter, could close with another pope who bears his name. This idea implies that just as Saint Peter was the first leader of the Church, the last pope, identified as Peter the Roman, could mark the end of an era, symbolizing a return to the origins of the Christian faith, but also a dramatic closure of its history. Also, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned the verse of Isaiah 26:20 that advises people to guard their homes until the wrath of the Lord passes. This verse can be interpreted in various ways, and it is interesting to consider how it relates to the prophecy of Malachy, which mentions that it will be the Lord who destroys the city of the 7 hills. This connection can lead to reflecting on the nature of divine wrath and how it manifests itself in the current world. Could it be that the destruction of Rome, the city of the 7 hills, is a symbol of a broader judgment on humanity and its actions? I leave this interpretation open for you to consider and reflect on its meaning. Now, I would like to know your opinion about it. Do you think we are close to the end times, or do you think that all this is mere coincidences? Your perspective is valuable, so do not hesitate to share it in the comment box. Also, if you like this content and want this community to grow, I invite you to subscribe and activate the notifications so that you do not miss future videos. Remember, the search for the truth is a path that goes better in company. Now, I wish you can sleep peacefully, reflecting on these deep issues.